Good morning. Today we are going to make oatmeal chocolate chip banana cookies. This is one of our favorites in our home. We love everything chocolatey chippy, and it's a great way to sneak in fruits into some snacks for the kids, for our family. So welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. If you're new, welcome. You'll find all sorts of wonderful, easy, homemade recipes. And if you're returning, thank you so much. Let's jump in. All right, so for our ingredients, they're going to be listed in the description below, but we're going to need 2 bananas. We're going to need an egg. We're going to need oats, flour, white sugar, brown sugar, baking powder, baking soda, butter, vanilla, salt, your chocolate chips. And I think that's everything. Let's just jump in. So I'm going to start by doing my bananas. You want to use 2 good-sized bananas. Now, normally when I bake with bananas, I want them to be pretty ripe, but it's all right if they're not completely overripe, so don't stress. You don't have to wait till your bananas are completely brown in the peel before you can use them. So I'm going to put the bananas in a bowl. You can use a fork to mash your bananas if you want. I am going to use our potato masher. Works pretty well. And we're going to just mash away. Mashed. And I'm going to go ahead and just, since we have, I call the bananas a wet ingredient, a liquid ingredient, because when they mush down, they get soft and liquidy. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of my liquid ingredients in one bowl and do my dry ingredients in another, and then we'll mix them together. So I need a teaspoon of vanilla. You hear me talking about this all the time. Thing about being a baker or a cook, just because you have a recipe doesn't mean you have to follow it word for word. I happen to love vanilla, and so I usually add just a little extra. All right. So if you have a favorite ingredient you like to add, you can add a little bit more than what the recipe calls for. Don't want to go too crazy, but it's always fun to add a little here and there of your favorite things. Okay, we need an egg. Right there. And then we need 2 tablespoons of butter. Now I'm just using stick butter. This is actually sweet cream salted butter. This happens to be my favorite butter, so I use it in pretty much everything that I make. And then I'm actually going to go put this into a little bowl and sort of half melt it in the microwave. My butter has not been sitting out, so it's definitely hard butter. And you really want to have kind of room temperature softened butter to mix into your wet ingredients. All right, I have my butter kind of partially melted. We're gonna go ahead and pour that in there. We'll give this a little stir. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and do the dry ingredients. I'm gonna start with the flour, and we want 1 cup of flour, which seems like not very much when you're making cookies, but your bananas is a good filler, and so it kind of takes the place of your flour a little bit. And then we need oats. These are oatmeal banana chocolate chip cookies. So I'm going to get my oats here. And I'm going to do 1.5 cups of oats. 1.5. And then we need a 1/4 cup of regular white sugar. And I'm just gonna eyeball it here. I'm using my cup to measure, but you want a 1/4 cup of white sugar. And then we need a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. I'm gonna just kind of set that in there. And usually with brown sugar, you kind of pack it in just a little bit. That's about good. Dump that in there. And then we are going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of both baking soda and baking powder. And then we need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, just good old table salt. I have made cookies with sea salt before too, so you could totally add sea salt if you wanted to instead, but I like the smaller grains of regular table salt. And I believe that is all of our dry ingredients minus the chocolate chips, which we add in last. So I'm gonna grab my spoon, mix the dry ingredients together first. If you like bananas and chocolate chips, you guys, I have an amazing, amazing cherry banana chocolate chip banana bread. It is phenomenal. So I will link to that recipe. That is a huge breakfast winner in our home, especially for my son. If you have picky kids, he will not eat just plain old bananas. If I put bananas in banana bread or into these cookies, he will just wolf them down. So as a busy mom, I'm always looking for ways to get the kids to eat more fruits and vegetables, however I can sneak them in. Okay, that's good and mixed. I'm gonna go ahead and add our wet mixture here. Now, I'll tell you, if your family likes peanut butter, you could add a couple tablespoons of peanut butter to this recipe, and it's delicious as well. Or you could add some nuts, some walnuts, or some pecans if you wanted to. I want to make sure you get all of the dry ingredients incorporated there. The bananas are very, very moist, so it just kind of soaks right into the flour. I've got a little bit at the bottom here, so I'm trying to work that in. These are very, very moist cookies. It is fall, so it is definitely baking season for me. And let's see, I did peach cobbler muffins, which got ate in like 2 days recently. And coming up soon, I'm doing our protein balls. If you guys have ever heard of the energy protein balls, we love to make those in our household. We do all sorts of varieties, so I have those recipes coming up yet this fall. I'm very excited for that. We are ready for chocolate chips, and this recipe calls for 1 cup of chocolate chips. I'm gonna share a little secret with you guys. If you are ever just getting your package of chocolate chips, 1 package of chocolate chips is about 2 cups worth. And I was down to about half a bag. And as you can see, it's almost exactly a cup. So 1 bag of chocolate chips is about 2 cups worth of chocolate chips. Just so you know. We are gonna pour that in. Oh yeah. Mix these together. And my oven is preheating to 400 degrees. So every oven is a little different. My oven, if you're unsure of how your oven bakes, always set it a little bit lower temperature than what your recipe says. If you know your oven pretty well, my oven tends to cook things too fast if I set it too high. So I like to do my cooking and baking at a little bit of a lower temperature and let it bake a little bit longer. So mine's set at 400 degrees, and these will probably take maybe 8 minutes or so to bake in the oven. And I am going to get my cookie sheet, and we're gonna put these on there and get them into the oven. My first round of cookies is ready to go in the oven. I'm going to let them cook for about 7 or 8 minutes, and then I will check them. This recipe is going to make probably close to about 20 cookies or so, and I cannot wait to eat these. They're going to be so good. The oatmeal banana chocolate chip cookies are done. I have them in a dish ready for the kids when they get home from school to start snacking on. So yummy. Thank you all for watching today, and we will see y'all next time.